Okay, so today we're going to be solving absolute value equations. There's different methods of doing that. It's a little bit of algebra. But first we're going to look at what it means to solve an absolute value equation. Okay, we're going to do that by looking at the graph and seeing what happens. Okay, so the first one, so 1a. Let's go ahead and sketch. And your homework's kind of set up like this as well. So sketch f of x and g of x. Okay, and we're going to sketch it on the same axes. Okay, here are the two functions. Okay, f of x equals absolute value of x plus 2 minus 1. And we should all know how to sketch that. That'll be real easy in a second. And then our other g of x equals 1. And that's easy as well. Okay, that's just y equals 1. Okay, let's go ahead and sketch this somewhat accurately here because we need to find out where these two graphs intersect. So we're going to graph it accurately here. All right, so the first one, so let's graph f of x. So where's our vertex? How does it shift? Left 2 and down 1. Okay, so left 1, 2, down 1. There's vertex. Okay, let's put a few more points here. Okay. Okay, so left 2, down 1, and then how do we graph an absolute value? V. We do the slope. Do the slope. Okay, so what is our slope? 1. So put a 1 right there, but it's up 1 over 1. So let's do that. So up 1 over 1, again, kind of accurately here. Up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. And we can go up 1, back 1, up 1, back 1. Okay. And so we have some points there. So draw your absolute value as neatly as you can. Okay. Real easy. We've done this a lot. Okay, so they want you to sketch this, and they also want you to sketch the other graph. So y equals 1. What does y equals 1 look like? Is it vertical or horizontal? Horizontal. There you go. Y equals 1. So there it is. Y equals 1. And go ahead and graph that right there. Okay. And here, they'll also ask this. F of x equals g of x at x equals blank. So do these graphs equal each other somewhere? Yeah. I'm going to get caught up there. Okay, so these two graphs equal each other. Where do they equal each other? At x equals, or right there, so x equals 0, and also x equals, where is this one at? Negative 4, right? That's negative 3. So negative 4. So 0 and negative 4. There you go. Part B, so if they want you to solve algebraically, so solve this f of x equaling g of x, and the answer is where they intersect. All right, so let's solve absolute value of this f of x. So x plus 2 minus 1 equals this other graph, which happens to be a nice just horizontal line, so equals 1. So let me show you how to solve this algebraically. All right, well, intuition tells you to do what first? Let's go ahead and add 1. Okay, let's add 1. Let's go and isolate this absolute value. Okay, so let's add 1. So if you add 1, so you have absolute value x plus 2 equals 2. And there we go. Okay, so now absolute value, what does absolute value mean? It's a distance from 0. Exactly. It's always positive. Blah, 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 right? All right, so there's a certain setup if you have an absolute value. Okay, once the absolute value is by itself. And let me cover this up right there. So underneath my pencil, what number can we fill in that makes this true? So underneath my pencil, can that be absolute value of what? Could I put 2 under there? What's the absolute value of 2? 2. So the 2 works, right? What else can I put underneath my pencil as a number? Well, let's see, 4. Absolute value of 4, is that 2? No. What else can I put in there? -2. If that underneath my pencil was -2, what's the absolute value of -2? It's 2. So that's how we set this thing up. So I take this x plus 2 that was underneath my pencil. I can say this can equal 2, right? Because absolute value 2 is 2. Or this under there, x plus 2, right there, this could also equal what? -2, right? Because if that was a -2, then absolute value -2 is 2. So this could equal -2. And that still makes it true. And then guess what? We just solved these 2 little algebra problems, right? Okay, so let's solve it. So we do what? -2, -2, so x equals 0. Lo and behold, what? 0. And let's go ahead and solve this. Let's go ahead and subtract 2. Subtract 2, and x equals -4. There we go. So algebraically, there we go. Okay, if you wanted to solve that algebraically, if you wanted to solve by sketching it out, it's where they intersect. And there we go. Okay, same thing. Okay? Okay, let's look at another one. 2. Okay, 2a. So f of x equals absolute value of x minus 3. And g of x equals -2. So we'll do the same thing. We'll sketch it out, and then we'll see what solutions we have. Okay, and the solutions are where they intersect. All right, so this, and these are hopefully pretty easy to graph. All right, so the absolute value. So this one shifts to the, which direction? Right. 3. 1, 2, 3. Does it go up and down? No. There we go. Slope is 1. There you go. Up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1, back 1. Okay, so there's our v. Go. That's the absolute value graph. And then y equals -2. Y equals -2. Well, that's a horizontal line down there. So -2. There it is. Do they share any points? They don't. They don't intersect. Okay, but I'll ask it. It'll be written this way. F of x equals g of x at x equals blank, just like your homework. But they don't share any, so we'll just put never. Okay. They don't share anything. Okay, they don't touch. They don't intersect. Okay, so but let's go ahead and solve this algebraically and see what it looks like. So b. So let's go ahead and solve f of x equals g of x. F of x equals g of x. Okay, so let's take this. So absolute value, x minus 3, and we equals -2. Okay? And let's kind of think about the same thing here. Okay, is there any number that we could put underneath there, take the absolute value of it, and make this true? No. You take the absolute value of something, and it's always going to be positive, isn't it? So absolute value of something, it'll never equal -2. Right? So this will never happen. You can't take the absolute value and get a negative number. Right? So we'll just put, so you just have to recognize it. So no solutions. No solutions. And that's it. Okay? So that's our alarm to wake up. Okay. So don't set it up and go, okay, x minus 3 equals negative 2 and x minus 3 equals 2, and solve those. You'll get answers. But if you plug it in, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Okay? All right, so let's look at some more. Okay, so number 3. So let's go ahead and solve. We're not going to graph it. So let's just solve. Okay, solve. Absolute value of 5x minus 2 is equal to 8. Okay, absolute value 5x minus 2 equals 8. So do you think we're going to get some answers for this? Yeah, because absolute value, we can get some answers here. So let's go ahead and do our setup. All right, so this 5x minus 2 underneath there could be equal to what or what? Right, this could equal, well, this could equal 8 underneath there, right? Because absolute value of 8 is 8, so it could equal 8. Right? If you substitute 8 in there, it works. Or this 5x minus 2 can equal what? This 5x minus 2 can equal negative 8. Negative 8. Okay, we solve both of those, and that's our answer. Okay, so if we add 2, add 2, add 2, 5x equals 10. Okay, divide by 5, x equals 2. There we go. Let's add 2 there. Add 2. So 5x equals negative 6, right? Negative 8 plus 2, so 6. Then divide by 5. So x equals negative 6 over 5, a fraction, but that's okay. There we go. Now, is there any way to check our answer? How do you check your answer? We could graph it, definitely. We could graph it and see if they intersect there. But we could also just plug it in. So if x is 2, let's just see if that works. X is 2. What's 5 times 2? 10. What's 10 minus 2? 8. Absolute value of 8. It works. Even if I plug in negative 6/5, negative 6 over 5, 5 is canceled. It's negative 6 minus 2 is negative 8. Absolute value negative 8 is 8. So they work. They work. But you can always check. Okay? Okay, so this next one, it's going to be written a little differently. Do you guys remember doing composite functions? Does that word ring a bell to you? Yeah, that's that f of g of x, g of f. Okay, so it may be written like this. So before I do number 4, write down. So if we had g of f of x, we've seen this written like this before, right? We could also see it written like this. And it's the same exact thing. So if you see it, just know it's the same thing. It's g in this little circle there of f, parentheses, of x. Just a different way to write the same thing. Okay, so g of f of x, they write it like this or they write it like this, same thing. Just know that the main function is this g, the number outside there or on the left there. So g is the main function. And as you're doing this, remember you always plug into the main function. Okay, not the other way around. So same here, g is the main function. G of f of x, g is the main function. All right. Also, you could have f of g of x. F of g of x. And then, well, how do you think they write this? Just, there we go, like this, of g, just like that. Okay, and you might hear some other teachers, or I kind of refer to it as, that sounds funny, but fog and goff. It's not really an O, but fog and goth. Okay, but same things, means the same thing. Okay, so my point is, knowing that it could be written like that, let's say they give us this. So f of x, and we're going to solve. So f of x equals 3x plus 5, and g of x equals absolute value of x. Okay, and we're going to solve this equation. Okay, 6 minus 2, and I'll write it like this. G of f of x equals negative 12. Okay, 6 minus 2 times g of f of x equals negative 12. Okay, so we have our f of x, we've got our g of x, and let's go and write this out. Well, g of f of x, first of all, which one's our main function? The g. And so you plug into the g, there's our main function, absolute value of x. So you plug into the main function. So before I write this, what is g of f of x? Absolute value of 3x plus 5. So you plug into the main function. G of f of x, right? So it's absolute value of 3x plus 5. So let's go back over to here. Let's just write our equation. So 6 minus 2 times g of f of x. Okay, g of x is this function right there. G of x is the absolute value. So it's absolute value of, there you go, and then equals negative 12. Okay, so it's just another step to basically write what your function is, your equation is. Okay. All right. So now we just do a little bit of algebra and solve this thing. I'll ask it, but I think I know the answer. I know the answer, but why can't we go 6 minus 2?
Because negative 2 is attached to that.
Yeah, absolutely, no pun intended. The 2, and that it's attached by multiplication there. Good. Good. So 6 minus 2, no, you can't call that 4. All right, so algebraically, what do we do first? Distribute, good idea. If that was a parenthesis, yes. But with an absolute value, we don't really distribute. So knowing that, what would you do first? There we go. So we want to isolate this absolute value, get it by itself. Okay, so let's get rid of the 6 first. Okay, so minus 6, all good algebra skills here. Okay, so we are left with negative 2 absolute value, 3x plus 5 equals negative 18. There we go. Just working on our basic algebra here. And then what do we do? Add 2, or what do we do? Divide by negative 2. This is attached by multiplication, so you count that by division. So divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2. There we go. So that's reduces, that's gone. So absolute value 3x plus 5 equals positive 9. There we go. So we're going to get some answers, right? Because an absolute value could equal a positive. And so we set it up. All right. So we are 3x plus 5 could equal 9. Or this 3x plus 5 could equal negative 9. Okay, a lot of heavy algebra in this section. So if you like algebra, it's good. Okay, so go ahead and solve these. Go ahead and solve these. And yes, you can get fractions. Fractions are okay. And we have a couple more. Okay. Let me just call in someone here. Sienna? Sienna, how do we solve this one over here? There, subtract 5. There we go. So I'm assuming you got 3x equals 4, and then x equals divide by 3, so 4 over 3. There you go. Okay, and then Amanda. So what'd you do for this one?
Subtract 5 on both sides.
There you go.
-9 plus -5.
Good.
-14.
There you go, and then there you go. Perfect. Any way to check this? Sure, you could graph it. It'd be hard to see if they intersect there, but you could graph it, see if you're in the ballpark for sure. Or you could just plug it back in there, and you could trust ourselves, and we got that one right. So there we go. Okay. Okay, a couple more I need to look at here. Okay, so number 5. Okay, number 5. Okay, f of x equals 2x minus 4, and g of x equals absolute value of x. Okay, we're going to solve. Okay, 5 minus, and I'll write it this way, g of f of x equals 20. So 5 minus g of f of x equals 20. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and figure out what g of f of x is, and we'll put it right there. So main function is which one? Main function is g, and then so we plug into the main function. So it's just right there. So it's 5 minus absolute value of, and there you go, 2x minus 4 equals 20. Okay, so what do we do first? Get the absolute value by itself. Good. Absolutely. So what do we do? Subtract 5, subtract 5. What do we have left? Negative still there. 2x minus 4 is equal to 15. There you go. Then divide by -1. Okay, so absolute value 2x minus 4 equals -15. And then what do we do? 2x minus 4 is equal to 15, and 2x minus 4 equals -15? I see people saying yes, I see people saying no.
Yeah.
Yeah? Just, okay, so 2x minus 2x, let me start doing this, 2x minus 4 is equal to -15? No? Yeah? Okay, I see yeses, I see nos. So then, and then also what do we do? 2x minus 4 is equal to positive 15? Okay. Why am I talking funny? And just because. What's wrong? There's no solutions. Why? What? There you go. Absolute value can never be equal to a negative. Okay, so again, we can get some answers. We can add 4, 2x equals -11, x equals -11 halves. If you plug in -11 halves there, 2 times this, you'll get some answer, but you take the absolute value, I know it's a positive answer, and it'll never equal -15. So don't get in the trap of just saying, hey, this is equal to this, and it equals negative that. Okay, absolute value can never equal negative, so no solutions. No solutions. There you go. No solutions. Okay. Okay, I got to do 2 more here. I know these are a little long, but covering all the different types, you'll see. Okay, so absolute value of 2x plus 7 equals 0. Absolute value 2x plus Okay, are there any, do you think there's any solutions here?
I don't know.
I don't know. That's a good answer. I don't know. Okay, so if I cover this up, can I plug a number there to make this true? Yes. What can I plug in right there? 0. Exactly. What's the absolute value of 0? 0. So there we go. That's our setup. Okay, so 2x plus 7, this thing right there, can equal 0. Because if that was 0, absolute value 0 is 0. Should I put plus 0 and equal negative 0? No, doesn't make sense, right? So there we go. And so let's go and subtract 7. 2x equals negative 7. Divide by 2, so x equals negative 7 halves, and we're good. We're good. Okay? Okay, so it just can't equal negative. Just can't equal negative. All right, last one. Okay. Okay, 1/3 absolute value 2x minus 1 is equal to 7. Just want to make sure we know how to deal with that fraction there. Yeah, first step, isolate that. So how do we get rid of the 1/3? We could multiply by 3. Multiply by the reciprocal, right? Multiply by 3 over. You could divide by 1/3 both sides, right? Divide by 1/3, divide by 1/3. But if you're divided by 1/3, you're actually, right, flip and multiply. You multiply by 3 over 1. So yeah, just multiply by 3, both sides. And then multiply by 3. And that's pretty much as easy as that. That's gone. So there's 1. So 2x minus 1 is equal to 21. Are we going to get some answers? Yes. Because absolute value equals a positive? Yeah, we'll get it. Okay, so now we can set it up. 2x minus 1 is equal to 21. Or this 2x minus 1 is equal to negative 21. Because absolute value negative 21 is 21. Okay, add 1. This should be pretty easy to hopefully solve here. 22. Okay, so x equals 11, or x equals what? Negative 10. Is that what you guys got? Plus 1 plus 1. 2x equals negative 20. X equals negative 10. And there we go. Okay, a lot of stuff we just covered, but some of it is just sketching. And the ones that they give you are pretty easy to sketch. And where they intersect, those are your solutions. And you can solve it just the way we learned how to solve them, though you should get the same answers as you got from the graph. And then it's just the algebra, right? Set it equal to, for example, in this, it could equal 8, or this could equal negative 8, and you solve it. You might have that f of g of x, g of f of x, but we know how to do that, hopefully. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and start this assignment. I think we'll get most of it done. Again, usually on block days, we finish the first assignment, I collect it, but I'll kind of look at the next set of notes and kind of see how long they are, and we go. All right, so get your packets out, and let's get started on that.